p.m. Here we go. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, it's Kevin T. Robertson, the world's #1 speaker coach, here again on our live Zoom call every Monday, 6 p.m. Eastern. We go live with rapid fire Q&A. We are going all out today. Today's topic, we're going to talk about the 6 primary target markets to earn money in as a professional speaker. Again, we're going to talk today about the 6 target markets, 6 primary target markets you can earn money in being a professional speaker. As people are logging in from all over the country, we definitely appreciate you logging on. I'm going to be handling some rapid fire Q&A like I always do every Monday. So if you have questions, don't forget the rules. Raise your hand. When I see the blue hand go up, we will unmute you so you can ask your questions. When the question is over, please lower your hand. Austin is over there helping me out as well. So if I miss anything, we'll be sure to facilitate any questions that you have. And we're going to have a great call like always. All right. Now, what I want everybody to understand about the 6 different target markets, if you are following me on social media and you follow my post today was talking about you should really focus in on one market. With the exception of the association market, I want you to look at it like it's an a la carte market. It kind of goes with every market because as I'm going through the whole process, the youth market speaking to kids, the faith-based market speaking to churches, the government contracting market, the college market, the corporate market, and also the association market. All of the other markets, your niche, your skill has got to first match the niche. I get on these calls constantly, and in our old one-on-one coaching program, I used to talk to the students all the time about you really have to know what your brand is. So, and you really have to understand what your niche is before you can take that niche, your skill set and your niche and your brand to a specific target market. Target market, target audience, and target buyer are 3 different things. So, excuse me, as we are learning what we have to do to accommodate these markets, to place your services properly in all of these markets, you have to first understand what is your message? Who are you trying to reach? So before we start talking about the target markets and the primary areas where you can earn money being a speaker, and I'm going to elaborate on them all, I'm going to talk about the pros and cons of each individual market. Because many of you are still confused. I get on these strategy calls every day, onboarding new students, and every day people are confused about what they're supposed to speak about. That's because a lot of you are still stuck in motivational speaker mode, and you got to get out of that. You got to get out of the hype part. You cannot sell hype in today's market. It's too many distractions. It's too many lookalikes. So if you have a brand, you are ahead above the rest. You don't have to worry about having any competition because when you have your own brand, you eliminate the competition. I call it having a micro niche. So I want you to look at it like this. Many of you that already have an established brand, way before you came to Speaker Focus, me and Austin cannot take credit for what you've done prior to coming on our platform. So those of you who already have an existing brand, and mind you, if you don't have a brand, we talk about that in module 2 about how to build a bookable brand and create some marketing magic. I'm talking to the people right now that already have a brand. So even if you have not yet got to that point, I want you to hear me and hear me good. Your role in this entire thing is to understand that you have to take your services and then it has to be like a perfect match. If it's not a perfect match, that means a lot of you are going to do a lot of flopping around and you are going to try to service every market at one time. That is a recipe for disaster. I'm going to say it one time and one time only. Do not try to go after every market at the same time. You are going to fail. I've done enough of that for all of us, especially early in my career. Now, a little bit later in my career, if it was a special circumstance where it was something for my mentorship group and I had to go speak to some kids, I would do it. But the other markets just simply wasn't able to hold my attention. So I had to find the right market. Now, what I'm asking you to do, what I'm respectfully requesting is that you find your market. What is your passion? What is your niche? And all of those out there are saying, well, KTR, I don't know what my message is. Well, what do you like to speak about? Follow the blueprint right there in module number 1. The very first question is, what is your ideology? What's your approach? What do you want to talk about? Because if you don't know that, you are going to wind up being the equivalent. And here's what happens. You have all these speakers out here trying to score a touchdown without having a football in their hands. Is that what we're doing now? You don't want to be one of those speakers. You have got to have a solid message first. That's why module 1, we talk about organizing your message, how to supercharge your platform skills and organizing the message. Now, for those of you who have forgot, your target market are the areas or arenas where you can earn money as a professional speaker. Those are the primary target markets. There are 6 of them. I'm going to break them all down today. Then, you're going to learn to get your message to the right target market. You're going to develop a niche. You're going to build a brand. And that brand and niche is going to be a perfect match for the target market. The target market is areas where you can work being a professional speaker. Let's go to the target buyer. If you haven't forgotten, I need you to be able to articulate the language in a certain kind of way in this industry, because if not, you're not going to be speaking to the target buyer in a language that they understand. Let me clarify, who is the target buyer? The target buyer of your professional speaking services. They are a conference coordinator, meeting and event planner, a key committee member who is directly responsible for managing and handling the budget and booking professional speakers. You should be doing whatever you can to get on the radar of the target buyer to let them know you exist. In some of my prior Zoom calls, we were talking about having the right marketing materials. Today, we're not covering that. We're covering the primary target markets to earn money as a professional speaker. If you cannot learn to connect with these target markets with a very specific, micro-specific message, you're going to fall on your face like I did for about the first 750 tour dates that I booked. Low fee or no fee engagements. A lot of them were low fee, $0 to $1,000. Again, I was just a really good motivational speaker. And when I first started, I really wasn't even that good of a motivational speaker. And then remember, you're just a better motivational speaker if you're charging $1,000 to $3,500. Conference coordinators aren't even going to take you serious until you get to past the $5,000 range. And when you get in the corporate market, if you're not charging $10,000 plus, they're going to look at you like you got 2 heads. So I need you to understand, speakers who are all over the place with their messaging, you are going to fizzle out like a sparkler at the 4th of July. I would respectfully request that you choose one market. We're going to go over them all. Okay, I got a question already from somebody who's trying to interrupt me while I'm getting ready to get into all of the target markets. Okay, who's the question? Oh, it's Karis. Hey, Karis. Oh, no, it's all good. We don't mind when you show up late. We just want you to show up. Today, we're going to talk about the 6 primary target markets the 6 primary target markets where you're going to earn money as a professional speaker. Now, I don't mean to diminish any of the markets. Some of you are already speaking in these markets, and it's going to sting a little bit when I tell you some of this stuff. So what I'm going to do today is talk to you about the pros and the cons of each of the target markets, so you clearly understand how you should be packaging your message. Please, please, please follow KTR's packaging formula for your messaging. In module 1, there is a very micro-specific formula that will get you a very micro-specific result. Why am I telling you this? Because you are not You are not in business to reinvent the wheel. Isn't that what you're paying us for? Isn't that why you're locked into the world's #1 platform for speaker marketing with a lifetime membership, mind you, so you don't have to scratch your head and have to worry about how am I going to ask any of the students that's on our coaching platform. You don't have to worry about getting the answers to your questions. That's why me and Austin are here. If you have to do that in one of your other coaching programs, it's sad. You can get the answer to any question that you have about professional speaking. All you got to do is put it in the chat. I'm not too big to answer questions. That's why we do the weekly Zoom call for all of our students so everyone can benefit. Now, I don't see anybody in there right now with interruptions. So I'm going to start breaking down each of the target markets. The first one is the youth market, speaking to kids. Let me give you the good, the bad, and the ugly about the youth market. Listen carefully, because many of you out there are caught in a little cadre. You're saying, oh, I want to go to the hood and do some good like Robin Hood, KTR. I'm Mother Teresa. I'm going to save the world. Okay, for all of you who are thinking like that, I suggest you get your money up a little bit more before you go into the community and start doing work. Because typically when you have a 501c3 nonprofit, they are often undercapitalized, and the youth market is the primary one that will suck the life's blood out of you until you have nothing left to give. I'm on the phone with speakers every single day who are sick and tired of speaking for free. They're sick and tired of getting booked at the local community center, getting $250. I mean, maybe you want to take some pages out of my playbook and do some listening. Because when I tell you I've gotten hundreds of checks for $0 to $1,000, and I got a whole lot of checks in the beginning for under $100, I was just happy they were paying me. I could distinctly remember a speaking engagement. I was speaking to some kids. It was in 100-degree heat in the summertime. They had built a stage. It was in a park. I had one of my polo shirts on like I have right now. I had some slacks on, and I had some shorts on. I'm sorry, I had some shorts on and some sneakers. So when I finished speaking for about 30 minutes, sweating bullets, mind you, the guy comes over to me with a check for $50. It was barely enough to cover some gas and something to eat on the way home. If you want to keep stumbling around, chasing your ass in the youth market, great. Now, there is a way that you can earn money. I'm just talking about the cons right now. If you don't know how to set your fee, which we show you how to do right there in module #1, how to have the pricing conversation and set your fee. You do not want to put yourself in a situation where you're basically allowing them to give you what they want you to have. Now, the youth market, just as sure as we're sitting here, will do that when you speak at, listen to me carefully, and this is not meant to be offensive, but I only know how to say the truth out of my mouth. The closer you get to Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard in every major city in this world, they're going to be broke. The high school, the elementary school, the junior high school that you so desperately want to go back to and give your message to, they're not going to have a budget to pay you. They're going to love it when you say, come speak for free. Do you know right now, if I wanted to, I could set up a tour of 100 high schools all across the country if I wanted to, because I'm going to call them and tell them, I'm not going to charge you any money. They'll be on you like white on rice. Now, why am I telling you that? Because I wasted a lot of time speaking at high schools that simply don't have the budget. And for those of you out there saying, see, this is the kind of stuff that I hear every day. I had a cat from New Orleans tell me one time, he says, oh, KTR, these principals don't care nothing about these kids, which is not true. He was bitter and frustrated because they wouldn't pay his fee of $2,500. Well, what you're asking a high school to do in the inner city is you're asking them to pay you a higher fee for a market who's incapable of paying you the $2,500. So there are thousands of schools out there who don't have the budget to pay you to speak. There are thousands of them out there that do have the budget to pay you $0 to $1,000. But maybe you want to listen to KTR for a second, because if you think you want to keep getting, you're going to get sick of getting checks for $500. I don't care if you're getting 10 of them in 1 month. Yeah, it sounds like good money, right? But the goal of professional speaking is to speak less and earn more. Maybe you want to listen to me. Maybe you want to listen to my story when I spoke at Duval High School in Greenbelt, Maryland, and I did 3 assemblies and I only got paid $600. And each one of my performances kind of like, my energy was real high when I first started because kids, they suck the life's blood out of you. They had a band there. It was some kind of award ceremony. They had it set off real nice for me. But at the end of the day, I felt like I was run through. I felt cheap because I prostituted myself for $600. And I should have gotten a whole lot more than that with the value I deliver. You don't want to feel like that. So you got to go to the high schools, watch this, in the bigger neighborhoods, in the neighborhoods that have the bigger budgets, if you have to be in the youth market speaking to kids. By the way, every market I'm going over is right there in the chat box. If you can't locate it, I will copy and paste it in there for you again. These are the 6 primary target markets where you can earn money as a professional speaker. The number 1 market, well, the first market is the youth market speaking to kids. It's often associated with the lower fees. People kind of get their feet wet. A lot of people that have been incarcerated, they say, oh, I'm going to go back to the hood and do some good like Robin Hood. I want to save the kids. Okay, no problem. But remember this, the closer you go into the inner city, they're not going to have a budget for you to speak. Okay? We promote high fee speaking on this platform. There's another way to do it. Now, if you just absolutely have to go out and speak for free, fine. I don't promote it because you don't have to do that. But if you want to donate some time, great. Good for you. Maybe you don't have anything else better to do with your time than to give back every single day. If you want to build a real business, you got to get real focused. And that means not speaking for free all the time. Now, the bigger schools have the budgets, like charter schools, private schools. You also have those schools in the suburbs that have bigger budgets. All the private schools, they hire speakers. And also, if you're going to be in the youth market, here's where the big dollars are. All of you need to go and Google leadership conferences for kids right now, and it will pull up every major conference for kids. I'm talking about YMCA of America, which is one of my past clients, Boys and Girl Scouts of America, Youth Leadership Expo, Youth Leadership of Association. They have all these particular leadership groups, and they are huge. They do local, regional, national, and international conferences. Listen to me. If you specialize in the youth market, you can make a killing. But I'm telling you that if you're not passionate about it, you're not going to make any money. Now, here's how you make money in the youth market. Let's say you've written a book or a curriculum about kids, about leadership, about how they can build their self-esteem. I know tons of leadership speakers. They get paid anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 just speaking at a youth event. These youth events are huge. These jamborees, these breakfasts that they have, these boot camps that they have, these summer camps that they have. They bring in speakers all the time. A lot of them have huge budgets and they hire speakers. Stick with the leadership speaking and the leadership conferences and the leadership events. There are literally thousands of them. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, we have over 5,200 meetings in our industry that occur every single day. I didn't say every month, I said every day. And at the head of those meetings, there's a male or female getting paid to speak. So I want you to remember, if you have an affinity for kids and you absolutely need to change kids' lives, the only way I want you to speak in the youth market, stay away from the schools in the inner city. If you have to service those schools and that's in your heart and it's in your vision and your mission, God bless you, I understand. But get your money right first before you start doing free speaking engagements with the youth market. They will rob you of your energy. We're teaching you how to build a business here. You don't see billion-dollar corporations giving away their services for free all the time, so neither should you. I believe I made my point about the youth market. If any of you have an affinity for kids and you have written a curriculum, you've written a book that talks about leadership for kids, how to build self-esteem for kids. We have coaching students on our platform who specialize in opioid addiction, drug abuse. They counsel kids. Many people have their degree in early child education, early child learning. If that's your thing, then I want you to speak about it. You can still earn money. I just got to be able to tell you what to stay away from, because it seems to be like I'm the only person in the world in this industry who's going to give it to you the way it really is. There's a lot of shit going on in the youth market. Now you better hear me if you want to make some money. I suggest you smarten up, get your sales tools together. Oh, by the way, speaking of sales tools, just like all the other markets, you got to be very specific with your message to kids. See, don't go all the way across the board and try to service everybody. That's where you're going to fail. Excuse me. I want you to, if you got to stay in the youth market, remember, get your messaging organized and make sure that your sales tools, website, speaker info kit, speaker video demo, is geared towards kids. That's how you earn more money. They need to be able to see you. Watch this. They're going to place you where they see you. They're going to put you in a setting where you've been operating prior to. So if I see you taking pictures with kids, if I see you speaking in front of kids, that's probably, if I'm a meeting planner who wants to book a kid speaker, again, stop thinking like the speaker and think like the conference coordinator. If I see that that's what you do, remember, I just want to buy the sizzle first. Well, I just want to look at the sizzle. I'm not ready to buy anything yet. Okay, I'm getting out of KTR coaching mode. Let me go into KTR conference coordinator, meeting and event planner, key decision maker, and committee member. If you're in the youth market, before I move forward, got to have specific messaging for the youth market, speaking to kids. That means that your website, your speaker info kit, and your speaker video demo, it should be all centered around your 4 signature programs. Remember, you should be creating leadership topics that the market is already buying. Believe me when I tell you that leadership is the #1 bookable and most requested topic for all these markets worldwide. Everybody just putting their spin on leadership or empowerment. Or if you're a specialty speaker, so some of you are specialty speakers. We have a lot of child youth advocates on our coaching platform. I'm not knocking any of the markets. I'm telling you that you better be smart before you start designing your sales tools before you go to the market. Don't think for a second that just because you're speaking to kids that you're going to be able to pull a fast one on these conference coordinators. They're still looking for value. Now, I got to say this, as much as I bash motivational speaking and inspirational speaking, and I bash it in a very loving and constructive way, because it doesn't have the same ring as it did many years ago. So we don't promote motivational, inspirational speaking on our platform. We promote professional speaking. In the youth market, you can get a little bit more theatrical with kids, because if you try to go in there and give them a lecture, I can tell you right now, they're going to throw tomatoes at you. And you don't want that. So you got to be entertaining for kids. I used to incorporate rap music into my presentation to connect with kids. It was a great way to bond with them before I even started my presentation. I had a band. I get the drummer to hit a beat for me. I would do like a freestyle rap. The kids would be going crazy. They're waving their hands in the air. Oh, now they're lowering those walls. Now they're listening to my message. Or we have coaching students that do spoken word poetry. That's another way to connect with kids. You can connect with anything that is super big with their whatever's happening in pop culture. And typically it's music, food, movies, anything like that. Fashion. So, I'm fresh when I go in there. I never wear a suit when I used to perform for the youth market. I typically never wore a suit. I put like a sweatsuit on or a polo shirt or some jeans or some sneakers or something like that. I did a ton of youth speaking. Now, let's move to the faith-based market. Many of you out there, we have the chaplain to the New York Knicks basketball, professional basketball team on our coaching program. We have many deacons, bishops, licensed ministers, pastors. We have prophets on our coaching program. We have it all. What I'm telling you is that here are the cons about the faith-based market. If you're going to thrive in the faith-based market, you got to stay away from the pitfalls first. And here's what happens in the faith-based market. The smaller churches, if you're part of a church congregation, I don't mean to be offensive, but here are the facts. The smaller churches are broke. 49% of the smaller churches are in economic crisis. If they have a struggle paying the light bill, do you think you're going to be able to get your money out of them? Now, the faith-based market has a bit of a broken system. Listen up. So they do a love offering, love offering, watch this, a collection or an honorarium. Now, you can forget about it. When they do a collection or a love offering, you're going to get whatever it is they want to give you. Basically, you're putting yourself in a position they're going to give you what they want you to have instead of you setting a fee and enforcing the mark. So now when it comes to an honorarium, they may agree with you up way home. I remember the first time I spoke at a single my keynote range is 50,000 now. That's a long way from $56 and some change I got for the first time I ever got paid. It didn't feel good at all, but I had enough to buy me something to eat. Coaching students, men or women of clergy, who are in the faith-based market. That means, let me clarify, because some of you aren't listening sometimes when I say pick one target market. You should be delivering a spiritually based program, a biblically based program. Nothing wrong with it. If you feel like that's your passion and you feel like you have to speak in the faith-based market, then you've got to write curriculum. You've got to write a book, design some type of content that is going to be consumed by parishioners, by church members, or by people in the congregation. Because there are people in the congregation. There are faith-based conference coordinators and event planners that will book you to speak, and they are hiring speakers, especially from $0 to $1,000. They can get anybody to come speak for $0 to $1,000 is what I'm trying to tell you. I believe we have, Austin, do I see a question there? Okay, I think she sent a private question. All right, let me see. Let me check real quick. Okay, no, that doesn't have anything to do with it. I'm having an issue with my internet connection for some reason, and I do apologize if it freezes. On the replay, it doesn't freeze, but for whatever reason, I'm directly plugged into my router, Comcast, because we don't want anybody in the house because of COVID, right? Comcast has to come out and check my internet. I pay for the highest speed internet. I don't know why it's freezing up sometimes. So our apologies are extended. Please work with us through any technical difficulties that we have. Thank you for bringing that to our attention. Love you, Laurel. Okay, now, remember that if you're in the faith-based market, you're going to be writing curriculum. They have the leadership ministry. They got the men's ministry. They got the fun and games ministry. They got a ministry for everything you can imagine. So if you just choose one thing you want to speak about, and they always have leadership conferences in the faith-based market. If you want to get to the yams, the greenbacks, the dineros, the euros, if you want to get to the cake, the cheese, if you want to get to the bread, you have got to go and speak at the mega churches. Now, for any of you out there who are in the faith-based market, this is what you need to do right now. Go get your phone or go on your computer and pull up Wikipedia mega churches. Let me say that again. For those of you who have an affinity for the faith-based market, that means that you want to speak to churches, and your message, your leadership or empowerment message would be a great fit. I want you to go to the mega church market. Go to Google right now, type in mega churches Wikipedia. They're going to give you about a list of 450 plus mega churches. This is free game I'm giving you. There, you're going to see churches, all the mega churches that you know of are going to be on this list. They have operating budgets from over $2 million to over $100 million per church. Congregation sizes, 2,000 members to over 60,000 members a week. What's been happening during the pandemic? Everybody is doing church online. No problem. You'll be back in service before you know it. No matter what your denomination is, by the way, they have bookings for these huge events. You may refer to, you may know about Manpower for Potter's House in Texas. You may know about a lot of these people have huge conferences. Now, let me share this with you. Remember, the biggest conference I ever spoke at was the International Association of Venue Managers Conference, and I was one of 55 speakers at one conference. These church conferences, they have an array of all kinds of speakers. So it's huge. It's a huge market. I'm not telling you what to do. I can only give you suggestions. You've got to stay away from the smaller churches because they're going to run you in circles. They don't have a big budget. You got to watch how much community service work you're doing as you're growing your speaker business, because it's a distraction. I used to jump at every opportunity to speak. You know why? Because I didn't have that much positive activity going on, especially when I was in my 20s. I just didn't understand how to market myself. So I used to just jump at every opportunity. You don't have to do that. Go to the mega churches and you're going to find all these church coordinators, these church conference coordinators. They book speakers on the $5,000, $7,500, $10,000 level. Again, your leadership topics need to have the value that the faith-based market is looking for. Remember, you need to have a spiritually based program. Watch this. You could call your program spiritual-based leadership. You could call your programs man-based leadership, women-based leadership. You could call it congregation-based leadership. Now you have 4 signature programs that directly talks to the church coordinator and speaks to them in a language that they understand. No matter what the target market is, ladies and gentlemen, you must be prepared to deliver massive amounts of value. and you have the government contracting market is coming up next. Let me give you the pros and cons about the government contracting market. Now, when you are in the government contracting market, and I know all of these markets very well because I serviced all of them. Some of my past clients are right there in the DC area where I'm close to. FEMA, Department of Homeland Security, FBI, CIA, Social Security Administration, HUD, Food and Drug Administration, and the US Senate, House of Representatives. I could go on and on and on. I just about service every government agency, Bureau of Printing and Engraving is another one of my past clients. What you're going to see with the government contracting market is they're going to try to put a cap on your salary of around $2,000 to $6,000. Now you say to yourself, oh, KTR, that's some pretty good money. But I used to do at least 10 to 15 of these every month on an average of $3,000. Now that's some pretty decent money. But what you're going to find out is that the government is just like what the government always is. They don't give a damn about you or your level of skill. And by the time I had migrated out of being strictly a motivational speaker for the youth market and taking whatever I could get from the faith-based market, I had moved into becoming a pretty strong facilitator, a teacher, a business trainer. I had worked with all the public seminar companies and they were keeping me pretty busy doing government contracting. That's how I was able to get a lot of experience. See, I was tired of being a motivational speaker and I really wanted strong facilitation skills. So I took contracting gigs through Johnson & Wales University. That's how I got a chance to go overseas about 30 plus times. I took gigs with national seminars, Fred Pryor, Skill Path, Paget Thompson. I also did, I believe, let me see. Fred Pryor, Skill Path, Paget Thompson. Oh, Career Track as well. Okay, now, a lot of these public seminar companies, they were heavy into the government contracting market. And I took a lot of gigs with them because I needed to get that experience. Again, I wanted to learn how to be a real facilitator, how to transfer knowledge at a very high level. So here's what was happening. I was going in there and I started to realize that now by this time, my speaking and facilitation skills are fire. I'm getting high marks on my evaluation forms all the way across the board. I now have command over my content. I'm getting pissed because I'm working too hard to get this little bullshit $3,000 to $6,000. And I know that they're supposed to be paying me more money. See, the goal of professional speaking, I need you to hear me and hear me good, learn from my experiences. The goal is to speak less and earn more, not the other way around. So the government contracting market, and don't get me wrong, there are trillions of dollars in government contracts every single year. But I wanted to go someplace where I was appreciated, celebrated, not tolerated. And that's how I started to feel in the government contracting. I just feel like they had me on a hamster wheel and I was just going on and on and on. I felt like the Energizer Bunny, just going on and on and on and on. And I'm adding massive value to them. But they aren't paying KTR his real money that he's supposed to be getting. See, watch this. A lot of you are getting pissed off and frustrated because you want the $5,000 to $7,500 and the $10,000 for markets that's incapable of paying you that kind of money. I mean, if I'm making sense, show me some love and put it in the chat box. Because if you want to keep chasing your ass in circles for the last 7 years, like I did of a 34-year career, just do everything opposite of what I'm telling you. If you want to make money in the government contracting market, and there are trillions out there to make, you can get on the GSA schedule if you like to, or you can reach out and you can solicit business. I'd recommend you get on the GSA schedule, and that means that now you can go into the government's list and you can look at the offerings that they have. They need on-site training and facilitation like you wouldn't believe. And when you, again, if you want to cut your teeth and you want to do some business with the government, you can do it. biggest contract I got was one of my biggest contracts. HUD was one of my past clients as well. So I remember I probably did at least 30 HUD Leadership Graduation Academy ceremonies. The biggest payday they ever paid me probably was let me see. And I did it as a favor because I'm really close with the conference, with the event coordinator for HUD. So they probably paid me $6,000 plus expenses when I did the directors conference in Detroit. Okay, you may think $6,000 is a lot of money, but guess what? 10 sounds better. Somebody owes me 4,000. So you're gonna start looking around and start losing money, and then you're gonna start getting upset. But you will never be able to say, oh, KTR didn't tell me. Why didn't KTR tell me that on the government contracting market, they're gonna pay you with your money 30, 60 days after services are rendered? Ooh, that hurts, doesn't it? Now, I think the fastest I ever got paid was maybe 2 weeks to 30 days when they start doing ACH transactions, and then they just put the money with a direct debit. But the government is crazy. I remember one of my HUD contracts, I said, when do you think I'll be able to, get the money from this engagement? They said, we're going to put in a purchase order. They had to send the purchase order to Texas first just to pay me back in DC. What? It's backwards. But I made some nice money. I was able to change my zip code. I was able to buy a brand new car. I was able to do a whole lot of stuff. But then I got trapped into a cycle and I had to get out of it. So the cons to the corporate market is that they pay you after services are rendered. Oh, by the way, let's talk about the money with the youth market, speaking to kids. If you're going to speak at a high school, they're probably going to pay you after services are rendered because you're dealing with a local, city, federal, state, or municipality. And there's a lot of bureaucratic red tape you're going to go through to get your check in the youth market as well. So be prepared to get paid after services are rendered. If you're speaking at a conference in the youth market, it's different. They will send you a 50% non-refundable deposit upfront plus expenses to get you to do that tour day. The faith-based market, if you're speaking at one of the bigger conferences, if you know how to set up your business the right way, they will pay you up front to come speak at the conference. But the church, they typically pay you when you get on site. And that's when you put yourself in a position where you're getting paid what they want you to have instead of you setting the fee and enforcing the market. Now, just like the government contracting market, you can do pretty well for yourself if you are, for example, remember, I'm not here to bash any of these markets. I'm not here to make the decision for you. What I'm here to do is make sure that you get paid, compensated the right way, and you go with the proper approach to the right target market. Now, Jerome, thank you very much, buddy. Nice to have you on the call. Okay, now, if you have an affinity for the government contracting market, let me say this. If you're ex-military, if you have served on a police force or anything like that, you'd be a really good fit for government contracting. Now, government contracting, they hire civilians all the time. I mean, CIA is one of my past clients. So yeah, you got to go through a bit of a background check sometimes for your business, but if they see the value, they'll hire you. I remember one time they wanted to send me overseas. They wanted to send me in the heart of the fighting. This was probably back in the 90s. I don't think it was the Gulf War was going on. They wanted to pay me $100,000 for 6 months. But at the time, I just wasn't comfortable going into a war zone and being away from home for that long. For 6 months, they were going to pay me $100,000. I just really didn't see the value in it for me going, but the money was there. Contracting market. If you have a curriculum for government employees, they struggle just like people in the corporate market. So they just are, listen, my mother was a civil service worker for almost 40 something years. My mother worked at the Department of Energy. She worked at the Department of Justice. She worked for a lot of different government agencies, and she retired from the Department of Justice, DOJ. She worked there for many, many years for one of the top attorneys, Fred Disharoon, for many years of her professional career until she retired. Now, I'm telling you that if the government is your thing, if you're one of these, see, I'm not a political kind of person. If you have something to offer in the political realm, if you have something that you want to offer in terms of helping these government agencies, the military spends billions of dollars on government contracting. The money's there. You just have to learn the little nuances. So if you have an affinity for the youth market, speaking to kids, start doing some research. Start calling around to all these conference coordinators. Remember, one of the strategies of building relationships is setting up a Zoom or a Skype call or a teleconference. You can interview them and you have it recorded. Start interviewing some of these conference coordinators about what kind of value are they looking for in speakers. That way you're building a relationship. Remember, you don't want to go in all hot and fast with all of the, I want you to book me for a speaking engagement kind of rigmarole. No, build a relationship with them. That's what the LinkedIn organic strategy that Austin is utilizing right now is killer. It's just a break the ice kind of conversation to introduce them to your professional deliverable. Now, remember, if you are in the faith-based market, you want to do the same thing. Start reaching out to these conference coordinators, these church coordinators. They will talk to you, especially if you have value. Start reaching out to the people in the government contracting market as well, because the money's there. Me personally, I just got tired of them keeping me in between $2,000 to $6,000 because I started to see, oh, by the way, in the government contracting market, they have a bit of a broken system as well, because what they do is they have a open bid policy, which means that I'm going to put in the bid for 10,000, but one speaker may come in and do it for 6,000 or may do it for 5,000. So you got to really watch, you got to understand how to be competitive with your pricing. The magic number for government contracting is right around $2,500 to $3,000. That's how you're going to price the contract to get it. If you get on the GSA schedule, when you get on the GSA schedule and you go in and you start seeing all these contracts that are open, you can go in when you're on the GSA schedule and apply for the contract. Put your bid in, put your proposal in. You're basically going to create a template and submit kind of like the same template. That's how the process works, okay? Or you can go in and you can have other people book your speaking engagements like I did through the big public seminar companies. But those public seminar companies, a lot of them have died out because the economy and the market, a lot of them have merged, but they still are in existence. They do a lot of government contracting because they could give them a really, really low price. And if they're getting a low price, you're getting an even lower price to go in as the contractor, okay? I did it for many years because I wasn't doing it for the money. I was doing it to learn the game by any means necessary. They were paying me to practice. And believe me, that's how I got really, really strong facilitation skills as a speaker, as a business trainer, doing on-site presentations. That's how I became world-class at delivering leadership strategies. Now, let me go to the college market. That is a whole lot of fun. Remember, if any of you have any questions or you want to ask questions, you want to use the raise hand feature. You want to raise your hand and I will see the blue hand go up and I'll unmute you. And then I'll be more than happy to talk directly with you. We're going to save the end of the call anyway for a big Q&A. I'm going to do a little bit of tech talk with Austin and we're going to wrap the call. Now, the next market is the college market. Many of you may have an affinity to speak to colleges. If you do, cool, listen carefully. In the college market, you have about 4,000 plus colleges throughout the United States and US Virgin Islands. You have anywhere from, let's say the historical Black colleges, about 140 plus historical Black $1,000 to $2,500. The bigger universities, the mid-majors, and mid-majors are going to put you right around 2,500 and cap you out around 5,000. The sweet spot again for the college market is right around $3,000. I'm not sure if Rufus has a question. I see his name on the screen, but Rufus, if you have a question, please put it in the chat box or use the raise hand feature for anybody that does have a question. Okay, I'm going to keep going on. So remember, for all of you who are in the college market, here's what makes it work. The students pay an activity fee every single year. The activity fee, the student activity fee, comes out of the student tuition fee. For those of you who went to college, you know what I'm talking about. Now, it's mandated for all of the students to pay that fee, and it's also mandated that the student is being entertained, because guess what they use for the student activity fee? Spoken word poets. They're going to hire rappers, singers, steppers, dancers, celebrities, and they hire speakers. Reality show speakers, they can make anywhere from $30,000 when they go speak at a college and they aren't talking about anything. You just have a celebrity appeal. When you build a celebrity brand, you make more money. But other than that, the colleges are going to keep you anywhere from $1,000 to $5,000. Now, what I don't like about the colleges is that you have to front all of your expenses: flight, travel, hotel, airfare. I think somebody has they took their self off of mute. I'm picking up something. Maybe, I don't know, please everybody, make sure you have your mute on. I'm picking up some background noise from somebody. Okay, now remember this about the college market. They're going to pay you as soon as you get on campus, but you have to take out all your expenses. That means meals, travel, flight, rental car, hotel, airfare, any out-of-pocket expenses. You got to pay it up front, but they will have your check as soon as you get on campus. You don't have to worry about that. The college market is pretty solid. If you have a college program that will enhance campus life. I have some speaker friends of mine, they speak about sex education. It's a married couple. They go all around the country. They do about 100 days a year just speaking about sex education. I didn't know this, but I learned this by looking at one of their presentations one time when I was on tour many years ago, is that STD testing goes up 75% after spring break. So they go around to colleges and educate kids about practicing safe sex. They have an explosive program. I know a really close friend of mine, Tracy Wiggs. He owns Just Wiggin Entertainment. He specializes in booking comedians. Tracy has worked with some of the biggest comedians in the world. He worked with and comedians. Well, colleges book speakers left and right. So if you have a fire leadership program, watch this. If you have an affinity to speak to colleges, start reaching out to the college coordinators. Every single college in the world, and I just gave you 4,000 colleges throughout the United States and US Virgin Islands. I'm not talking about the other thousands of colleges that's overseas that want to pay speakers a fee to come speak. Now, all of them have leadership academies. All of them have leadership institutes. All of them have a leadership group. They have a leadership class that they have. They have a leadership association right there on campus. Oh, you can also reach out to the multicultural director, the athletic department. I mean, do you know how many different, the science department, the media department? I've spoken at so many different college campuses before. I've been the keynote speaker at a multicultural awards banquet ceremony. I've been the keynote speaker for a prayer breakfast ceremony at college. I've been on panels before for the Howard University School of Business. I've done speaking and been on panels for a multitude of colleges. Edinburgh University is another one. That's one of my favorite past clients. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. I mean, you can just do a massive amount of gigs. I used to just book college gigs just with student orientations. One year I booked like 25 orientations just in the college market. Now, you can specialize in one of these markets. I would respectfully request that you do not choose all of them. Pick one market. Now, let me move on to where the big men and the big women play ball, and that is in the corporate market and the association market. What you would basically be doing is you would do on-site training for a corporation or an association. They hire facilitators, speakers, trainers, real teachers to come in. Oh, they also hire consultants. They also hire coaches to come in to speak. You can do a multitude of things in the corporate and association market. They literally have a room for you to come do a presentation, or they would do it off-site at a conference center. I've spoken at hundreds of off-site conference centers all across the world. They have beautiful facilities that are strictly set up to facilitate conferences. Now, associations also will hire you to come in. I've spoken to hundreds of associations. And I spoke for the Black Aviators Association in Detroit one year. They hired me to come in to speak at their conference about what? Leadership. Remember, on all these markets, leadership is the #1 bookable and most requested topic at conferences and corporate meetings worldwide. Massive amounts of dysfunction. I'm talking about they're not communicating effectively. You have a bunch of backbiting, undermining going on. In the corporate and association market, you have about 82 to 97% of their problems in the workplace stem from ineffective communication. Now, your leadership program is typically communication-based, and if you have one that's very powerful, like me, when I went to the corporate and association market, I never forget it. I remember Tyco, the electronics company. They do security now, but back in the 70s, they were real big at like video games and stuff like that, especially home video games. Well, Tyco paid me $5 grand. I thought it was all the money in the world. That was my first check for $5 grand for a corporate fee. And they knew how to facilitate the transaction because they hired speakers before. And I remember when I earned that fee for $5 grand, I asked, the lady asked me what my fees were, and I had never got 5,000 before. So I kind of answered it like a question. I said, my fee is 5,000. I wasn't even sure if she was going to give it to me, but they paid me the fee, and I had a great engagement, and I got a lot of experience under my belt. So what's going to happen is you're going to see that in the corporate market, they have all these levels of dysfunction. They have a situation going on in operations, and the corporation is set up, and an association. They have all these different facets of the business. So your professional leadership services can go in one of those specialty fields, because the head of HR, the head of training and development, the manager of the training manager, or just a high-level executive, or I've had owners hire me direct and say, Kevin, we got some issues going on. And I tell them up front, let me share something with you I do with all my corporate clients. I tell them, if you don't want to hear the truth, don't hire me. You can keep your money. Are you interested in real growth? Are you interested in moving the meter? Because I'm going to come in and expose everything I see that's going on that's wrong. Now, if you got a problem with that and you want to live in fantasy land, then you can stay right where you are. More power to you. I hope you figure it out. But if you want to move the meter, then I suggest you listen to what I'm telling you to do. Okay. Now, also, the corporations, the higher your fee, the more they're going to like you. Okay. So don't be afraid to ask for $10,000 right off the break if you know the value's there. You don't start out at 50 grand keynoting like me. You don't start out that way. You have to build up a resume. But if you think you're fresh enough right now, if you think you have the professional deliverables, I suggest you go into the marketplace and have the balls or guts enough to ask for 10 grand, because the corporate and association market, they will pay it to you. Now, remember that the cons of the corporate market is that it's competitive just like every other market. So I suggest you build a brand so you could create some market differentiation. These conference coordinators, meeting and event planners, remember you have all these different sections of the business: operations, sales, HR, safety. You have frontline employees, management. You have management on a supervisory or managerial level. You have executive training, and it goes on and on and on. If you specialize in a niche and your curriculum is strong, hear me carefully. These corporations don't give a damn about your cute little story and motivation or inspiration. They've heard enough of that. They want you to deliver a topic that moves the meter. In other words, can you get in front of them and help their audience with key takeaway strategies? Can you help them achieve learning objectives and desired outcomes? Because if you can, then that's very valuable to them. Corporations will pay handsomely. Remember, we want to teach you to go out the door for no less than $5,000 for 1 hour or any portion of 1 hour. $7,500 for a half-day program, which is 2 to 4 hours. $10,000 for a full-day program, which is 4 to 8 hours. Let me say this to you: corporations and associations typically, especially if you're doing on-site training, they're going to want to get the most out of you. So you can plan on being there for 8 hours. Unless you're doing a keynote, you don't have to speak for 8 hours. I did a Zoom call many weeks ago. Go back to my YouTube channel when I talked about all the different revenue streams of being a speaker. There's all kinds of ways to earn money in the corporate market. They have massive amounts of dysfunction. Most of them are working backwards. They need you to throw them a life raft. Remember, you should also those should be your domestic fees. You should also be requesting airfare, hotel, and business class accommodations for 2. A $100 meal per diem, you should be requesting every single day. They could pay it like it's nothing. All right. If you have to go speak overseas, which I've done 30 plus times, all the fees double on all levels plus expenses. You got to know how to ask for it. You got to know where the value is. You got to know how to deliver value and how these corporations, how they operate. Now, you can better believe, just like many of the other ones, the corporations are going to have a process to get your money. I like their process better because they play less games than the other markets. Now, the first thing you can count on is you getting a 50% non-refundable deposit up front just to secure the date. Don't promise tour dates or bookings on your calendar to anybody that, number one, has not signed an agreement for you to speak. Number two, unless they have a venue for you to speak. Number three, unless they have a budget and they've issued a purchase order, they have started the procurement or accounting process. That means that they're getting your money ready. I'm not going to speak anywhere for free. I'm not going to speak anywhere unless you send me half my money up front. And for those of you who are taking smaller fees right now, I want you to think about that. You're burning up $2,500 worth of time just going, just travel. Some of you are in the air 5 hours one way, 5 hours the next way. That's 10 hours right there. How much is an hour worth of your time? That's why you got to be charging more. Excuse me. Now, also, when you're speaking at conferences, which is so much fun, you're going to be, a lot of associations will hire you to come speak at their conferences. And there is an association for everything you can imagine. From the dumbest thing you can imagine to the most elaborate, everybody has an association. They have a responsibility to their constituency and their members to put valuable content in front of them on a regular basis so they can grow personally and professionally. So all these conferences have members. I apologize. All these associations have members. Those members pay high fees, membership fees, annual fees. They pay dues. Then you're going to come out the pocket with, on average, professional goes to 2 to 5 conferences a year. Remember, we do 5,200 plus meetings in our industry every single day. At the head of that meeting, there is a male or female getting paid to speak. And I hear the silliness online talking about COVID is killing the speaking industry. Are you kidding me? All it did was create more opportunities for Skype calls, Zoom calls, teleconferences, webinars, online summits. All these markets are doing more online stuff. But I don't know if you've heard, ladies and gentlemen, that some of these states are loosening up the guidelines. Many people are now able to go inside of restaurants without the mask. Yes, they're doing it like that in Texas right now. I don't know what state you're in, but they are not going to last long with the COVID. So eventually the conference coordinators are going to start hiring speakers again. Okay, I got a question. Let me see. Okay, this is from a Galaxy Note. I don't know who this is. If someone could put your name in there so I could properly address you, it would be great. Okay, if you're just starting out. Oh, Erica. Hey, Erica. Okay, Erica. So if you're just starting out and you don't have to ask for low fees while you're building your resume. No, you do not have to ask for low fees. I'm teaching you how to go out the door for $5,000 for 1 hour or any portion of 1 hour. I don't give a damn if you never had any speaking experience before ever, Erica. We are going to teach you how to create the right kind of sales tools so you don't look like you're starting out. Does that make sense? If you don't have experience, how will they pay us a high fee starting out? Okay, I see you clapping right there. That's right. Is it their growth pattern? Yes, Erica, you're already doing something at a high level. I want you to hear me and hear me carefully. Erica, you may not look at yourself like this, but this is who you are when you are a professional speaker. Remember, we're not promoting you as a motivational or inspirational speaker. We are promoting you as a professional speaker. So in order to qualify for a professional speaker, you have to fall into one of the 4 categories of all of them. Erica, if you feel like you're in one of all 4 of these categories, show me some love in the chat box. You may not look at yourself like this, ladies and gentlemen, but you are a specialist. A lot of you got 20 plus years doing something. Damn, you specialize in doing something. You are a subject matter expert. You are a leading authority. You are a trusted advisor. Who are you giving advice to every day? A lot of you on this platform, they're coming to you, asking you stuff, sucking the life's blood out of you. Erica, do you believe that you are one of these things? I do, however, I don't have the media. What do you mean when you say media, Erica? Okay, you don't have the media. What are you talking about? Are you talking about sales tools? Are you talking about doing interviews? Is that what you're talking about? Be specific. You don't have the media. Be specific so I can address that question. You don't have to do a bunch of sales tools. My interviews are from hosting. Okay, watch this. we're going to teach you how to create the sales tools, Erica. And then you will have the credibility and the social proof. Speaking at book signings, that's great. That's part of your experience. We're going to take your book signings, we're going to take your professional credentials and put it all in chronological order. We are going to help you look professional so you can acquire the higher fees. Just because you have a lack of speaking engagements does not mean that you cannot still earn the higher fees. It's all in how you put the sales tools together, okay? And you don't have to have a bunch of media interviews, radio, TV, magazine articles, newspaper art. You don't have to have a bunch of that to start booking speaking engagements. That's why I want you to follow the formula that we have in modules 1 and 2 in specific. Get your branding organized. Erica, I'm here to help you. Have you finished your signature programs yet? Have you decided what topics you want to speak about? In module 1, you can put those right through the school platform. That's right. You have lots of videos. That's the social proof I'm talking about. We can start there. A lot of people don't have a lot of videos. They don't. They have a lot of other stuff, but they don't have a lot of videos. So if you have a lot of videos, great. What I'd recommend you start doing videos on are the signature program topics that you're creating in module 1. That's what I want to see. You need to start dropping videos about that because that's going to be the speaking topics that you're going to book for. You're going to be booked for. Now, speaking at conferences is a whole lot of fun. And I'm getting ready to wrap up the Zoom call tonight, unless anybody else has any other questions. Austin, are you still there? I want to get Austin on because we're going to do some tech talk.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Troya, we are wrapping up the call tonight with all of the target markets. And we talked about the 6 primary markets where speakers can earn money being a professional speaker. They can thrive in these markets by going with a very custom niche. And I know Austin is real big and he reminds me about this all the time. And the reason why we're very careful who we do business with and what we do is because it's important to stay focused on one thing. Me and Austin are focused on speaker coaching. We have the #1 platform for speaker marketing in the marketplace because that's all we focus on. We're here to help you succeed. Erica, real quick, don't forget when you get your signature programs created, upload them to the school platform and let me check your homework. First time out, typically the students are struggling with their signature programs. Let me give you some feedback and help you develop your topics and create headlines, topics, titles, and descriptions that will be beneficial for the target buyer, that will speak to them in a language that they understand. Now I got Austin on here because it's important to focus on one thing. And Austin, what advice would you give our platform tonight about if you're going to be in the 6 target markets? Let me recap, which is the youth market speaking to kids with a very specialized message for them, or the faith-based market speaking to churches, or the government contracting market, or the college market, or the corporate or the association market. What advice would you give them from a marketing or technical standpoint that will make them create some differentiation and separate themselves away from all the rest of the noise?
Yeah, I think focusing in on one niche is really important, one market in the beginning, because if you're making less than, let's say, 8 figures as a speaker or as a business, you should really be focused on one thing because that's where you're going to get the most leverage and momentum. Now, once you scale your business to 8 figures and beyond, now you have a lot of momentum and leverage. You're making good money. You can invest and hire a team and everything to be able to venture out into different markets. But initially, your main thing is you need to get your speaker revenue up high so that you can, have a really great lifestyle and really make a dent in your market. And so the biggest thing is when you're able to focus on one market and dominate that, you create almost a monopoly. You can create a monopoly in your market, and monopolies are usually the people at the top of the market making most of the money are the ones that have been focused on it long enough. They've put out the most content, they've helped the most people in that space. And so that's what you want to become. You want to become the person in your specific market that is, working harder than everyone else, that's helping more people, that's doing more speaking gigs than everyone else in that market. And soon enough, everyone in that market is going to know who you are. They're going to want to hire you to speak, and you're going to be the expert, the go-to expert for that market, which means you're going to be, collecting, you're going to be getting all of the gigs. You're going to be sucking up all the gigs available in that market. Once you get to that point where you're making high seven figures, ready to, to step into another market, well, now you have plenty of cash flow coming in to be able to invest money in ads and resources to jump into other markets. But I think the biggest thing is when you're able to focus on one, you have more leverage and you have more momentum initially.
Okay. Austin, another, I appreciate that. Another piece of value that I want to offer him tonight. If I was a speaker just starting from the very beginning, like a lot of speakers are on our platform, once I get my sales tools together and I finish with sales cycle training and I know how to speak to the target buyers with confidence, and I go through the sales script and I know how to manage the sales cycle and I know how to speak to them in a language that they understand, what is an organic outreach strategy that you would recommend that people can start doing right now to start building relationships with conference coordinators, meeting and event planners? Even if they don't have any money.
Yeah, if you don't have any money, so if you do have money, the best place is Facebook ads. If you don't have any money, the best place for speakers right now we're seeing is LinkedIn, because you can do all the conference coordinators, most of them are on LinkedIn, and they're going to be available in the search. And you can search your specific market in LinkedIn and filter down by the job titles of conference coordinator or meeting and event planner. And all it takes, I'm going to put some training in week 5 on this, some overview of how to actually go about this LinkedIn strategy. But I recommend starting now. All it takes is, make a list on LinkedIn of all the people that are in your market that are decision makers, and just send them a message. Now, when you send them a message, don't say, hey, want to hire me to speak. What you need to do is start the conversation and essentially add a piece of value. And a piece of value can be a lot of things. It can be, pointing out something that they do really well, something that you love about their website, something you love about their LinkedIn profile, complimenting them on what the impact they've done in their space. And that all is valuable to them because it makes them feel good. And so they're going to remember you. So, and then just start asking some qualifying questions. Don't go straight for the pitch unless they say straight up, hey, I checked out your LinkedIn profile. Thanks for reaching out to me. And I love what you're doing with your speaking services. Can we hop on a phone? But if they don't say that right away, what you need to do is warm them up by asking them some questions and just having, like a human conversation with them. The best way to do that is just ask simple questions that kind of qualifies them. That could be, how are things looking for, your conference this year? Have you guys done a good job pivoting into, the virtual arena? What kind of speakers are you looking for? And then once you've talked to them, you've had some good conversation, then you can say, hey, would love to hop on a call with you, a quick chat to see, if I can help add more value to what you're doing and make your job easier. And don't say I want to hop on the phone to see if you could buy my services. Just say, hey, I want to add more value. Once you're on the phone with them, now you can kind of treat it, add some value, but also, start to tell them more about what you do with speaking and see if it's a good fit.
Correct.
The ultimate goal is to get them off the platform and onto a call, because LinkedIn is a noisy space. There's a lot of people hitting these people, the conference coordinators up. So you got to balance, getting them on a call as soon as possible, but also not being too pushy where you're going to, scare them away. So I think LinkedIn's probably the best place, and just treat it like a real, conversation. Hey, Kevin, I don't think we can hear you.
Yeah, no. I got your audio. It's back now.
Okay.
Yeah. No. Go ahead. Go ahead and finish. And we had a question from Erica as well that she put in through the. You can just send it back to. She sent you a private message actually. You can just address that. You can type it in afterwards, or you can address it right here if you like.
Okay. So Laurel Erica asks, how do we develop the list? On what basis? So how do we develop the list? So I can just walk you through an example. So actually, I'll just unmute you, Laurel, so you can. Actually, I don't have Laurel. Could you unmute yourself so you could expand further on your question?
Yes, I don't know on what, I'm hearing an echo. Oh, I know why. I've got my phone on too. Sorry.
We can hear you, Laura.
Okay. I still have it. Okay, there. On what basis do I put together a list? Who do I look for to create a list?
Yes, you're looking for conference.
Now I'm not hearing you. Let's see.
Oh,
wrong.
How about now?
Please.
Can you hear me now?
Wrong headset. Okay, sorry.
No
Thank
problem.
you.
Okay, wait a minute.
Can you hear me all right?
Hold on, Troy. Before you answer that question, so Laurel, we went over this before. Let's do a process of elimination. What's your target market? Is it the youth market speaking to kids?
It's the corporate.
It's the corporate and association market. Okay, now we're going in the right direction. So now,
Right.
Austin, you can answer the question. She's in the corporate and association market.
Okay, excellent. So you're gonna go on LinkedIn and you're looking for bigger companies. So you're looking for companies probably greater than 100, maybe 500 employees, and LinkedIn gives you that ability to target company sizes. And then what you're going to do is filter down by job titles, people that are conference coordinators, meeting and event planners, the key decision makers. So now you have a list of the decision makers of big companies or big conferences. And now what you're going to do is just go one by one. There's probably going to be thousands. So you're going to go one by one and message these people. And I'll expand on this further, like a detailed process of how to do this when I release my training in week 5 for it. But essentially, you're going to have a spreadsheet where you just kind of track the stages of where these people are at. So if you message someone, you're going to track that in your spreadsheet. I messaged this person. Now, if they do respond to your first message, you're going to track that. So now you have a list of people that have expressed or have engaged with you. And now you can go back and continue the conversation until you can get them on the phone. So does that answer your question?
Yes, partially. I'm not yet very adept with LinkedIn. So do I need to be paying a monthly service in order to get the information in terms of organizations and their size, and then to message them? Do I need like a basic membership, or is that still part of the free service available?
That should be part of the free service. Now, there are some limitations. You won't be able to do an aggressive strategy like we are. Like, we're sending out 100 plus new messages a day to people and connecting with over 200 a day. So once you're at a stage where like, okay, this is working, I'm getting some results, then you'll want to upgrade to the paid version, which is $70 a month, which is called LinkedIn Sales Navigator. And that's all you need is the LinkedIn Sales Navigator, and you'll be able to have no limits and really micro targeting. Now, you'll be able to do pretty good, let's say 10 to 50 new messages a day with the free version. Now, I do think there's less targeting options available, but I know the job title targeting is available. I don't know if the company size is available on the free version, but I can follow up with you after to verify that.
That's lovely. Thank you. How? By what means? Will you email me or?
I'll post it in school so everyone else can see the answer.
Okay. And I'm sorry, I don't know where that is. What?
Okay. I'll post it. So it's in group.speakerfocus.com. I'll post it in the chat here.
Okay.
It's our community group where you can post questions that you have and anyone can jump in and respond. But I'll post the answer in there so that everyone else can see how we
Thank
go about
you.
that.
I really
Of
appreciate
course.
it.
No
Yeah.
problem.
Do you have any other questions for me?
Are you speaking to me? I'm done for the moment. Thank you.
Okay. Excellent.
And real quick, Laurel, if you have not gotten your invitation to school, the school platform, then just send a message to me or Austin, and we will make sure we send you out an invitation so we can accept you into the group, because it's a very
Thank
powerful
you.
tool. Yes. Okay.
Well, yes, I'd love it if you would.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Obviously, she's not in there, Austin, so we got to make sure we get that out to her. We'll take care of it. No problem.
thank you. I
Okay.
appreciate it.
All right. Now, if we don't have any more questions, we are going to wrap this up. Wait a minute. I got one new message. Please, Jerome Pratt also needs the link to school. Jerome, boss, I need you to reach out to me and give me a call. I know you've been busy lately. We gotta catch up, bro. We gotta catch up. So definitely hit me up so we can schedule something, okay?
Hey, Kev.
Absolutely.
Fred Speaks has a question.
Who?
Fred Speaks. He's got his hand up.
Fred Dorsey. What's going on, boss? Do I gotta unmute him? Let me see. Wait a minute. Where's Fred? Oh, Fred, I'm sorry. I got to unmute. Fred, wait a minute.
Can you hear me?
Fred, you hot, boss. What's up, baby?
Hey, how we
feeling?
doing? My question is for Austin. So I meant to send it through school, but I just thought about it. With the active campaign, they had a like it's something he sent in the school platform, but it said something about an incubator. So I meant to email him to find out what that was. So it's like they got a 12-month free trial, but you got to be one of these incubator companies, and I just don't understand what that was.
Yeah. So what an incubator is, it's kind of like a tech related thing, but it's actually not a requirement. So what an incubator is essentially, it's a big, it's kind of an organization that invests in a bunch of startups, and they kind of house the startups there. Now that's not required. You should just apply anyway. We didn't go through an incubator for Speaker Focus, and we got accepted for that. Even though we have pretty high revenue, their requirements are pretty low. So I would recommend just applying and see what happens. I know the application isn't super long, so and you'll get a response pretty quick. And if not, active campaigns can be pretty cheap anyway. So.
All right. That's it. That's all I got.
Okay, Fred. See you real soon. Okay. Is anybody else have any questions or comments? And we are going to be wrapping up. You're more than welcome to ask me some more questions. Today we've been talking about the 6. And if you miss all of the markets, I put it right there in the chat at the very beginning of the chat box, the 6 primary target markets to earn money as a professional speaker. Me and Austin have some really interesting things that we're working on coming up on the Speaker Focus platform. We want to thank everybody who has been posting through school. It's a forever growing community. We want to thank you for your patience as we're expanding and got some bugs worked out. Yeah, they always try to converge, Austin. When you tell them you get ready to end the call, look at them questions coming in now. Okay. You're very welcome, Laura. We love you so much. We are always here to support your talent. And okay, Erica's saying you don't see what, Erica? Can you be specific? You don't see, what are you looking for? Can you type that in the box? And I think, Laurel, can you can you mute your call? I think we're still hearing you on that end. I don't see what you said you posted at the beginning. Okay, let me repost it. I just put it in the chat box. Boom, again, there we go. Right there for you. You got it? The 6 primary target markets to earn money as a speaker. Okay, you're very welcome. All right, everyone. I am wrapping up now. Today, we've been talking about the 6 primary target markets to earn money as a professional speaker. Those were the youth market speaking to kids, the faith-based market speaking to churches, the government contracting market, the college market, and the corporate and association market. I have had experience, sometimes unfortunately, working in all of these markets. I know them very well. I know the ins and outs. In module 2, I break them down, the pros and cons, and go into detail about what you should do to develop your niche. Take your niche and your skill set and your expertise and your signature programs and your topics and place them in the right market. Your positioning is very vitally important to the growth of your speaker career. We are here, me and Austin and the entire Speaker Focus staff are here to support your part-time or full-time speaking ambitions. There's never a question that you're going to have where you have to scratch your head and say, I wonder how that works. You can always show up here every Monday, 6 p.m. Eastern, for a Zoom call with rapid fire Q&A. We will tackle any question that you have, whether or not it's soft skills with speaking or it's technical skills when it comes to, relying on Mr. Troy to enlighten us about how this world of tech works. We're always very happy to have these sessions with you. I'm so proud of many of my one-on-one students that are cycling out of sales cycle training and getting results. I'm so proud of many of our new students that are on the online platform, the people that are sharing information through the school platform. Don't be afraid or embarrassed to share your experiences. This helps us help you, and it also leaves a seed. Remember this, everyone. As professional communicators, we are here to provide service to other people. This isn't about us. This is about how we can help you. And I want you to think about that. The more you share through school, you're able to help other people who are struggling. Look at the questions that came up on this Zoom call with Laurel asked a question about technology, and Austin was able to directly address it about how you manipulate the school platform. So I want you to think about that as we're moving forward and we are growing, and we're growing together. We are here for your long-term success. So I want you to think about that. Don't hesitate to send the questions through school. You have unlimited amount of questions you could send through school. Me and Austin will sometimes answer them in real time or within a 24-hour period. This is Speaker Focus. It's been a pleasure to bring you another powerful Zoom session with my business partner and co-founder of Speaker Focus, Austin Troyer. I am the world's #1 speaker coach, ladies and gentlemen. Get used to it because there's simply nothing you can do about it. God bless you. And I will be here same time, same place next week to give you more information about the professional speaking industry and how you can grow your brand. Take it one day at a time, keep going hard, keep working hard, block out all the distractions and do what you got to do to tighten up your speaker business, because the jailbreak with the corona is about to be over. And these conference coordinators are going to be looking to hire speakers with a high level of professionalism. We pride ourselves off of your success is our success, and we want to get your sales tools looking the right way, and we sure want to get your signature programs looking the right way, so you will be prepared to go to market. Take it one module at a time, take it one step at a time, and listen to it over and over again. If you have not yet mastered these skills, you should keep your head down, learning as much as possible. Erica, peace, safety, and blessings and prosperity to you as well. Erica wishes that to everyone. We're out, ladies and gentlemen. I'll catch you right here the next time, next Monday. I love you. Stay focused.